Welcome back to Black Mother Talk. I am the complete wreck, and I have here with me, as always, my bestie, Jazz the Gemini. Let's just get into it, okay?
Let's.
Well, first, let me do the housekeeping rules. We got to do the housekeeping rules, okay?
Absolutely.
This
Reminder.
is a safe space, number one, a non-judgmental space for us to talk, for us to vent, for us to laugh, whatever, to have our, roller coaster of emotions. So that's number one. Number two, subscribe,
Engage with us.
Please. We want to talk to you. We talk to each other all the time. We want to talk to you. We want to get your opinions and your viewpoints on what we're talking about. So make sure you subscribe and you engage. Number three, follow us on social media. We talk about some really great stuff on the daily on social media. We have a good old time on social media. So make sure you follow us at Black Mother Talk. We're on all social media platforms. All right. Now that we got the housekeeping under control, let's just get right into it. So, I was at your house the other day, right?
Yes.
And this is a regular occurrence. I come over, we do our thing, we...
Kids play together.
Exactly. So, I brought my son with me. And as soon as we get there, he just decides he just go show out today. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
He decided he was going to show out. Okay, now granted, he was tired, but it's not an excuse. He's used to being over there. He's used to being around there. It's not like he's uncomfortable. Not like he don't know the situation that goes on, okay? Right. You come over here, you play with your cousins, and me and Auntie, we do our thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes over there. Me and her, we talk and everything. He comes and stands right smack in the middle.
In the middle.
Of where we're talking. And I say, son, nicely, right?
Yeah, the first few times was nice.
the first few.
Okay.
She said few. Don't judge me. It wasn't the first, second, and third time I was nice about it.
She was, y'all. She was.
He comes, stands right in the middle of us. I say, son, go sit down over there with your cousin. Now, first of all, what is very irritating is we bring the kids so they can play and have a good time, so we can have a good time. They want to sit in our face.
Mm-hmm.
So we all sitting on the couch and everything. I say, well, go sit over there by your cousin. Me and TT are talking, so go sit over there by your cousin. I want to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can I sit over here? Son, please go sit down next to your cousin. Be a good boy. Go sit down next to your cousin. I brought you over here to play. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Did that one or two more times. Okay, didn't want to listen. All right, now it's time for me to get up. Let me snatch you up a little bit. Let me grab you and escort you
right
to your next place, which is this bedroom, because now you got to be by yourself. We got to talk about it in private, and you need to be by yourself, clearly. You don't want to play with your cousins, okay? You're trying to disrupt. You're trying to be rude. You see grown people are talking. Okay, so let me move you to this next space, okay? You stay in here and you think about it. Mm-hmm. And when you ready to act like you got some sense, you can come out of here.
Yes.
Y'all go get to know my son, because I'm going to be talking about him a lot. Getting to him, I said, okay, when you get your sense, when you want to ready to act like you got some sense, well, ready to act right, typically sometimes don't happen with my son until he feel like it. And he's real stubborn, so he can hold out. So he held out.
He did. Yeah, he was in that room for a minute.
He held out. So what did you ask me?
I said, basically, are you ready for me to intervene, or is that too much right now? And, she was like, well, have at it, because it's you. And that sparked up a conversation for us, because it's like, how do you feel if another mommy steps in and mommy's your child? Does it matter who it is? And does it matter the situation and the place? Or are you just like, sis, help me out? Like, I need help? Or do you feel like that's not your place? I got this? Because with us, with our kids, we're the second moms to the kids, so it's cool. and I stepped in, and I have before, like, you know, come on, what's the issue? Or your mama said, don't make her say it again. Because if TT got to say it, then it's going to be even more trouble. And they don't like that.
Right. So it's like, it really is a good topic because it's like, can anybody, if you're there and you're witnessing this, can I help you out, sis, and be like, now you heard what your mama said, you know, or am I going to be the next victim on your list? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, you never really know. Now, me personally, I mind my business.
You do. You really do, though.
I mind my business, okay? Now, if I'm watching your kid by myself and everything like that, cool. You know, I got to step up and be the authoritative figure at the moment. But if I'm there and I'm witnessing, I mind my business. Now, I'm perfectly fine with Jasmine doing it because we're sisters. This is family.
That's what we do.
Go ahead and do that. Not all the time it's not okay for family to do that. Now, let's make that clear distinction.
Absolutely.
Don't override me.
At all. And that's the thing. Like, it's levels to this. Like, right? It's levels. Because there's situations where you supported me and had my back in the situation. Then there's the situations where we all got them aunties and grandparents who want to shut your parenting down and override what you said. And it's like, y'all had y'all turn.
You had your turn.
You had your turn.
You had your
I
turn.
did not ask you to come in here and reparent. I said what I said, auntie, mama, grandma. Like, you can't come undermine what I said now. That's a no-no. Mommy and daddy rule. Period. Okay? Period.
Period, Pooh.
Now, in situations where my child is talking to me and you personally don't like how they're talking to me, sometimes
you can have my back.
Yeah, you can step in and have my back because you like, maybe you didn't think I picked up on it. Oh, you got something, sis? Go ahead.
You can have my back, but you having my back shouldn't be more aggressive than what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay. Nah, hold on.
Follow my lead. Follow my lead. You can have my back, but you gotta follow my lead.
Yeah.
Now, if I ain't put my hands on them, you can't come in and put your hands on them. Now, if I ain't raise my voice, don't raise your voice. Have my back, but follow my lead.
Thank you. Have my back, but follow my lead. Thank you. That's a tweet. Don't steal it. And follow us on Twitter. We be having good old time. Twitter, don't you just love Twitter? Like, you feel like you can just say whatever you want to say
all day.
It's just like
random thoughts, you know.
Pop that in there. Okay, right. I'm gone for the day. You know. But okay, so that was a good conversation we was having about that at your house that day, because we like, okay, hold on, like, is this okay for everybody to do? Or so we had to, what do y'all think? Like, is it okay for everybody to do? Do you like that, or are you not cool with it?
Let us know what you would do.
Yeah,
you know, in those situations and scenarios. But also, following that, is discipline in general. Like, let us know what you would do, because discipline, it's a very broad topic. And for us as black mothers, you know, the main thought is we whoop our kids. And, you know, it's nothing wrong with that. And most of us probably do, myself included. However, I have grown to realize that you have to discipline your child based on your child. All levels of discipline do not work for every child. For instance, when I was growing up, I didn't have to get whooped. Did my mother believe in whoopings? Absolutely. But all she ever had to say to me was I disappointed her, and that just tore my little world up.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, I got to get my shit together. Like, mommy is not okay with my behavior.
And that works for some kids.
It did. It worked for me. But does it work for all kids? No.
Absolutely
does it work
not.
for these kids born in the 2000s?
These 2000 kids is taking off.
Man, listen, like, let me tell you, like we said, I have 3 kids. She has 3 and 1. And her 3 and 1 have to be disciplined differently. And my 3 individual ones have to be disciplined individually. There's whoopings, there's punishments, there's whatever you come up with. And even with the punishments, it's like you can't take certain things from all kids and think that it's going to work. So I have one child where taking the TV away is going to destroy him. Mm-hmm. I have another child who will go play with a rock. He don't give a fuck. Like, you took that TV away, he going to find something else to entertain himself. Uh-huh. So that level of punishment ain't
his room be bare. He's still having a good old
time.
Okay. So let's get back to the whooping thing, okay?
Okay.
Because people think, I'm going to generalize and say that I believe that most people think all black mothers whoop their children pretty much.
I think that is a very well-known stereotype that is tossed at us. Yes.
It's not true. I'm not going to say how much percentage or anything like that, but I'll let you know all black mothers do not whoop their children.
Facts.
I'm not even sure if most.
Yeah, I mean, I can't statistically say that most of them do.
I think a lot. I think it's something that, has been passed down. Once again, going back to that, it's been passed down. We believe in whoopings.
Yeah. I definitely think our mother's generation, most of them did believe in whoopings.
I think the generation before us, probably the majority of them received some form of whoopings, right?
Yes.
So for me, I completely agree with you about it's just based on your child.
For sure.
Because before I had a child, I was like, oh, you try me and you will get your butt whooped.
That backhand to the mouth.
You will get popped. However you want to say it. Don't try me. And that's how I really believed, I was going to be.
Yeah, we had these ideas.
Right? And when my child came in this world, was like, oh, you thought this was how you was going to be? He was like, you met a real gangster.
Okay. We got bamboozled.
Listen. So, whoopings don't work for my child. Okay. It just makes him mad. It just teaches him how to be more angry and how to be mad and how to hit somebody. Mm-hmm. He like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay.
Right. So the next time somebody make me mad, I put my hands on.
Yeah, I can put my hands up. That's his thing. He's a thinker, and he's stubborn and he's strong-willed. And he like, I will not give you the satisfaction of a tear. That's my son. He just go be angry. He's like, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. I'm like, why ain't you crying? Oh, this don't work, huh? Mm-hmm. So, talking to him, explaining things to him, letting him feel empowered. I'll give him a choice. I'll give you 2 choices. They go both,
you
one's
still getting punished
more than it hurts me. It might be you can go to bed. Probably it's really do what I say or go to bed. Those are your choices, right? So it's either I'm winning on both ends because either you go do what I'm saying, I'm not about to have to be bothered with you because you go be in your bed. So both choices benefit me, but he's young, so he's just like, I'm gonna take the other one because I don't want to go to bed. And some days he chooses to go to bed, like he is in that mood to try me all the way to try land. Okay,
and he like I can't not try it, so I'm gonna just go to bed.
Yeah. So, and that's fine too. But I give him choices. He likes to feel empowered. He likes to feel like he's made a decision and he thinks about it. He takes a 1-2 and thinks about it.
He does.
He thinks like, what do I feel like doing today? Maybe I wanted to go to sleep. You know what I mean? So that's what works. So you having, and sometimes, with his daddy could pop him or something and that'll work for them, their situation, but it don't always work for each parent. You got to figure out like,
that's true.
That don't work for this parent. So that's whoopings. What is your take on whoopings?
I think whoopings are fine. I don't have an issue with whoopings. I think whoopings are not always warranted, though. I'm definitely a firm believer in the punishment should fit the crime. So everything does not warrant a whooping. And again, it matters the child you're disciplining. Like whoopings don't always do the trick. Like, you could have ones like your son where it does nothing but fuel further violence and anger, or you have ones where they take it and that's just what they did. They took it. Like, they served their time and it meant nothing to them.
They
like,
still go continue to do the same stuff.
Like
it didn't correct the behavior
at all. And that's the key for me. Discipline needs to be corrective. And kids, I feel, need to feel like they have the opportunity to get it right. You know, like, so with my kids, one of them is like super sensitive and extra emotional. So me raising my voice
is enough.
Just like,
it's enough.
He just like, whoo, okay, let me fix this right quick, because that's what I don't want.
Yeah.
And then my other one, I have to actually talk things out with him, and it's gonna be a whole conversation. I'm trying to avoid the word argument, but a conversation, because he has to understand that he's wrong and I'm right. And I try not to make it a whole Matilda movement. I'm big, you're small. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm not trying to do you like that.
Yeah.
But you need to understand, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
And that's just period. You don't have to like what I said, but you have to do what I said. So sometimes talking it out with him helps. Yeah. And then, you know, there's also the punishment. So he's not the take away the TV. This is the one who will play with a rock, okay? So what I have to take from him are things that matter to him, and that's having time to himself, or having that dessert or that snack, because that matters to him. Like, that's real. He real like, serious about his food. Yeah, so like, I'm not going to deprive you of your meals, because that's just wrong.
But you don't get that extra snack.
You don't get that ice cream.
Yeah.
You don't get them gummy worms now. And, you know, that matters to him. Yeah. So that's how it works sometimes. I have not perfected the whole discipline thing yet. I'm working on it. They are 10 and 6, so it's a struggle. And my baby is 1, so we haven't really even touched the discipline thing with her yet. But
and it's a girl, so it's going to be a little bit
absolutely different. And I have no idea how that is going to go. But speaking of her being a girl and those ideas we had prior to parenting, I just knew that because the good Lord blessed me with a son, I was going to avoid that whole attitudinal, talking back, emotional
Let's do this. Can we do this? Can we please stop with the, oh, you got a boy, you got it easy? Because these girls, listen.
They all a mess.
Right. Thinking, oh, you got it easy, you got a little boy. Oh, it's going to be so much easier because girls, they harder, they got attitudes. Boys have attitudes too. And let me tell you, and their mouth is witty, quick, smart, right?
Yes.
And you just be like in disbelief. Like, I really, because, you know, people will tell you, like, oh, you gonna have it easy. You got a boy. Boys love their mamas. They just so easy.
And my mom, like, she used to say to me and my sister, like, I can't wait for y'all to have little girls to pay you back for, you know, basically
you didn't have to wait long. That son paid me right on back.
Exactly.
Paid me in full.
That son got me in him some kind of way, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, this was not supposed to go this way.
And you just brought up something else that's really good. Trying to beat the you out of your child, right? Yeah. Like, trying to get the you up out of your child.
It's a struggle. Because
you feel like a hypocrite.
You do. And then it's like, on one hand, you want to laugh because you see that's yourself. Yeah. But then you can't laugh, because if you laugh, he going to think like, oh, this funny. Let me keep fucking with her. Exactly. And that ain't it. Yeah. Like, no.
Here's the thing about it. I think with discipline is such a fine line, because it's because they're so small, and you have to make sure it's not disrespectful. But the thing is, they're going to need some of this stuff as they get older.
Absolutely.
You don't want them to lose what's going to make them and make them special and, take away their personality,
True.
So you have to make sure that you have a fine line. So that's why I allow my son to express himself a little bit more, to voice his opinions, because that's who he is. He got a lot of questions he want to know. So I try to empower him to make decisions and let him know that he can think for himself and things like that. Now, is it frustrating? Yes, because it's like I'm having to explain myself to a little person, my 4-year-old, my kid, you know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, I don't want him to lose that. He's the thinker. I don't want to be like, shut that all the way down. And he has opinions, and he, it makes him feel proud of himself when he makes a decision.
And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes the stuff they say really does make sense. Yeah. It don't mean you wanted to hear it, and it will make you question the shit out of yourself. Yeah. Like my oldest, he will let me know, like, Mommy, when you yelled at me, that made me feel like you were so angry at me. And I'm like, well, I wasn't even angry. So I didn't, like, I was frustrated, but I wasn't angry. So allowing them to express themselves does teach me about myself. It makes me hold up that mirror like, well, maybe I am doing some things wrong, or that could be improved upon, because I don't want him to think I'm some angry monster all the time.
Well, here's the thing. Should you apologize to your children?
I mean, I know from my generation and growing up with the black mother and black grandmother and aunties they did not. Like, they said what they said, they did what they did, and even if it was, later perceived as could have been handled differently,
they never would admit they were wrong.
No, here go ice cream. Or you could stay out extra 10 minutes. Yeah, but it was
you would never verbally hear, I apologize for such and such and such.
No, and I'm not going to say that I have actually verbally expressed an apology as many times as it was owed to my kids. Okay. I do feel like they are entitled. Aware. Yes, I do feel like they are entitled to apologies, because one of the main stereotypes I feel that follows black mothers is do as I say, not as I do. And that's so confusing. So it's like we make them apologize to their cousins, their siblings, their friends, their teachers when they foul, and to us when they foul us. Yet we can't grant them the same respect.
Yeah.
It's kind of not right.
I'm a big one about that. I will apologize to my kid every single day if I feel that I was wrong. Because I know when I went to my mother with concerns, her apology made me feel so good. And so when I'm parenting my kid, I always try to remember, because we forget how we felt as children.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you knew your mama was wrong, and sometimes you knew your mama took it too far, and you just didn't say nothing. And if you ever did say something and then you got in more trouble, like how that make you feel, like. And so when I would go to my mama and she would apologize, it made me feel so good and like proud of her, proud of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
So I am a big advocate for apologizing to your children if you are wrong. What we have to realize is, just because they're kids doesn't mean they're not smart. They're human beings. And we're human beings. Yeah. And when you're wrong, you're wrong. Like, I'm going to lose it sometimes. I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to not act the way I want to act at all times. And once I'm aware of that and realize, I feel like, dang, that was wrong of me. I feel if I'm feeling bad, imagine how they're feeling. So I owe my kid an apology. I have no problem being like, I apologize. Mommy's having a hard day. It has nothing to do with you. Now, what you did was wrong, but I could have did it a better way. And, It makes them feel good.
And that misplaced anger is a thing.
It
Because
happens.
when I was growing up, I had to finally just let my mama know, like, Ma, just because your boss pissed you off don't mean come in here. Like, we ain't had nothing to do with that. Or because your coworker acted a donkey. Like, that ain't us, Ma. Like, we love you.
Yeah.
We cleaned the house.
Yeah.
We cooked dinner. Like, you know, that's not for us. And once I actually was brave enough to bring it to her, while she didn't say, I'm sorry, she did do what we all expect. The best apology is changed behavior. And she changed it.
Yeah.
And that's all we can expect. So, like,
even better.
You know, if you're going to apologize, that's fine. Mean it and change the behavior. And if you feel like saying the words to your child is just something you can't do right now because you're the adult and they're the child, at least listen to their point of view. And if you agree, change the behavior.
But listen to what you said. So you just said once you finally got the courage up.
Yeah.
And you don't want you want there to be boundaries.
Yes.
With your kids, but you also want your kids to feel comfortable talking to you. So I don't want my kids to have to get the courage up to talk to me about things.
True, and the hard part about it is there's a fine line between, you know, sanity and insanity. There's a very fine line between fear and respect. But there is a difference. I do not want my kids to fear me, but I want my kids to respect me. I demand respect.
And that's a little bit different from how generationally Black people were raised, because it's kind of this thing like, oh, you know, you're going to need to fear something, and it needs to be me. You need to fear your parent, you know, because that was to protect you. It was how Black people felt that they needed to protect their kids, because I need you to be fearful of coming in this house telling me that you done did something wrong. I'd rather you fear me than get out here, you know what I mean, and just be fearless. You can't be out here in this world fearless as a Black person.
Especially right now, this climate now.
Even back then, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was their way of protecting the kids. And now that we, you know, when you know better, you do better. And so now that we know, like, it's really you're just wanting respect. I don't want my kids to be fearful to come talk to me about certain things.
Right.
Because that makes your kids sneaky. It makes your kids be out here doing things that you don't know about.
Rebellious, resentful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you like, where did this? I don't even know this person.
I don't even know who you are.
Exactly. So you definitely don't want to do that. And, you know, I think there's so many good things that have been passed down, but we just have to
tweak them.
Get to the core of what they was really trying to do, and then bring that core to the surface. Because really it's about respect and, you know, being a good person, really.
Yeah, for sure.
They're just trying to raise us to be good people, and, you know.
And so are we.
Yeah,
so are we.
Exactly.
Like it wasn't until I wouldn't even say until I became a parent, but it wasn't until I became an adult that I realized that my mother is a human. Like, she's a human being. Mm-hmm. And regardless of what society tells us or makes us feel, mothers are women first. And that is the way we respond, we react, and we parent based off that womanness, that humanness. Like, and as kids, we hold them to such a high regard and think they're supposed to be invincible and superheroes and know everything. And then we in turn expect our kids to be like little Timmy and little Johnny and like and Susie and them. Like, what our kid is, or who our kid is who they are. Mm-hmm. That comparison has to stop, because they will progress as they are supposed to. Mm-hmm. They're going to be whoever they're supposed to be. And we have to understand that they're humans too. Humans that are younger than us, but not beneath us.
Yeah.
And I think, like, as Black mothers,
not beneath us.
We've conditioned ourselves, because it's been, you know, taught to us, instilled in us, that kids are beneath us. They're to be seen and not heard. And
stay in a child's place.
Yes.
How do we feel about that? See, okay, we didn't talk about that last time. How do we feel about when you tell your kid to stay in a child's place?
I mean, on the one hand, on the discipline part of it, I get it. On the respect end of it, I get it. Because there are levels to humanity. Mm-hmm. There are levels to the situation in general. So stay in a child's place is a legacy talk that I would keep. However, staying in a child's place just means it's a place. It's not where you have to feel less than. It's just a level that you have to grow from. Okay. Like, at some point you will be out of a child's place. But until then, you stay there in terms of respect, not because I'm putting you in this box
of lesser than.
Yeah, of lesser than. You're just in this box to help you mold into someone who can stand on top of the box when it's your turn.
Okay.
It's not your turn yet.
So let me ask you, okay, so just going back, let's play a little game. You know I like to play little games.
I'm off
I like
a
little game. Let's take a little sip. We got our mommy juice, y'all.
Yes, you have to stay with the mommy juice.
That I need to add that as our fourth housekeeping rule. Get your mommy juice, okay? Because we having hashtag Mommy Mondays, okay?
Yes.
And you got to have your mommy juice.
And whatever the mommy juice is for you. It could be wine. It could be hard liquor if you don't drink. It could be that mocha latte, iced coffee you need. It could be whatever it is.
Edge off, right?
Exactly. That's it right there.
We got our mommy juice. I like to call this our mommy's apple juice.
Yes.
Because this is like that Jack apple with a little dab of lemon. So I like to call this our little mommy's apple juice. Yes. Right? It's good, y'all.
It's good, y'all.
Get into it. But the little game, okay? So what would you do? So you having like a game night at your house, right? Mm-hmm. And your kids are near, you know, and when we have adult game nights, the conversations get a little, you know, they get real. We having real talk, right? And so say one of the people at your game night was like, don't you think you should have your kids go to their room? Because, you know, we having grown folks conversation, so can you send your kids to their room? What would you do?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm very big on, because my mother taught me this, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So first, I have to receive how it was said.
What if they, okay.
So if you said it in a tone and I'm like, you know, it was a helpful, you know, like you came correct, sis.
Like, what if they like, oh girl, we probably should send these kids to this room.
Then I'm going to say, you know what, you're right. And this is why. It's not so much because, you know, we were raised on the should be seen and not heard, but it's more so because, for instance, my oldest child, he internalizes stuff that he has no business feeling the need to deal with.
Right.
And he also repeats stuff. So if we're having that grown-up conversation amongst grown-ups and ourselves, I don't need him to take that and repeat it to anybody else, nor do I need him to internalize it. We sometimes get together, just like Black Mother Talk, and we are talking about these kids because we need to vent or get some advice or whatever it is. And I don't want them to feel like they're horrible people because they stressed us out that day. Yeah. These are topics they don't need to hear.
Exactly.
And that's just what it is.
Sometimes I'm talking about you. Love you, boo.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to my adult friends about my stresses, and that might include you a little bit. Yes. So I need you to go to your room. So if they said in a nice way like that, like, ooh, you know, they should probably, you know, you cool with that, right? Yeah. All right. Now, how else do we feel about the kids being around? Like, if you go to somebody's house and you drinking and they had their kids around, how do you feel about that?
I feel like you need to go play. You came over here. We came over here to do what we're doing. You came over here to do what you're doing. And that's to play with your cousins or your friends or whoever it may be in that situation. Go play. That's what you came here for. You didn't come here to sit up under me. Because if that's what we wanted, you and I, me and the kid, we could have stayed at home for that. That's not what this is for.
Right, because let's be honest, we don't always have babysitters.
Exactly.
And we still got to have a life. Mama got to have a life too. So, it might be an adult game night while you here in the room. It just might happen because you don't always have somebody to watch your kids. So, okay. So, I like how you said you would handle that. Like,
yeah, and we set them up. Like, don't get us wrong. If it's an adult game night, we set them up to play Uno or they Xbox or Switch or PlayStation, whatever it is they have. They have their game night too. But y'all have y'all game. Yeah. It's separate but equal, y'all.
Exactly.
Separate
we good for that, don't we? Don't we have a lot of them?
And we pour them their kid juice.
Right.
They have their little Capri Suns. And sometimes we'll even give them a cup to make them feel like.
Right, like, a nice little fancy cup so they feel like
I couldn't get rid of the kids on Cinco de Mayo. Guess what? They had kid margaritas in the little Dollar Tree margarita glass.
Exactly. You got to make it work.
Yeah.
You got to, or you'll go crazy. Okay, so I like that you would just, okay, that's fine. It just depends on how they came to you with it. And, as long as it's not feeling judgy.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. And as long as you including your kids in it too, all these kids got to go. Yeah. Don't just tell me send my kids away.
Okay. And what would you do if your kid came to you and was like, I don't like how you do this, this, and this?
So my natural personality is straight up defense mode. And I actually had this conversation with my kids before, and I'm not going to say I was proud of the way I responded the first time because, like I said, my natural response is defense mode. So I jump to, well, if you wouldn't have did this, I wouldn't have did that. Or if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have said it this way.
Okay.
And after reflecting, I realized, that's not how I should have handled it. Because if they're being brave enough to come or vulnerable enough to come share their feelings with me, I need to acknowledge it. And as a matter of fact, I once saw a meme that said, if someone tells you you hurt them, you don't get to say you didn't. And I was like, well, damn.
As an adult, when you're talking to another adult who you love and care about, and you come to them and say, you hurt me, and they talk about, no, I didn't, or they got an excuse for it.
Or you're overreacting.
Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh, don't do that. So it's the same with these kids.
Absolutely. And this is the open forum, y'all, and the no judgment. So we are not here to tell y'all we are perfect. We have made mistakes. I have made several. I am still learning and trying to improve myself on this journey. And that's what this is about too. That's why we also want the engagement. Tell us something. If you would handle it differently, let us know. Right. So we can take
use
pieces
it and implement it if
yeah.
I feel like, that's a good idea,
So yeah, my son, he has told me, I didn't like how you did this, or it made me feel this way. And my natural reaction was defense. And I jumped at if you had listened to me the first time, I wouldn't have cussed. Or if you had not done that, I wouldn't have yelled at you when I should have just said, okay, I hear you. Mommy will try to do better, but I also need you to understand this is how mommy felt when you did what you did. So we can have an open dialogue and an engagement so we both understand that we hurt each other's feelings.
Yeah.
Like they have feelings. We have feelings, and just because they're our child does not mean they can't hurt our feelings. That's another stereotype for black mothers, that we just so strong and invincible. And baby, we cry.
Bothers us.
Yeah, we cry.
Or that we mean and all this type of stuff. Listen. I am big on, letting my kid, like I said earlier, letting my kid voice, his opinion and things like that. And you got to just take that stuff on the chin sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to take it on the chin sometimes, and you have to listen and grow from there. So I like that. I'm good with that. I know some mothers are gonna be like, "You crazy, sis." Like, I wish a child would come tell me about after all that I done did.
Right,
I'm doing this. You don't pay no bills up in this house. You ain't doing this. Okay, I get, and I feel that too. I feel it because I'm living both sides.
Yes.
But what I always try to think about, because before I got pregnant, and I'll tell you about my pregnancy journey on another episode. But before I got pregnant, I really sat and thought about it. Like, I really went back to my childhood and thought about the things that bothered me. Yeah. Right? Because I'm like, I want to correct those things. Because I know better. I know how I felt. So I'm like, let me try to correct those things. So I'm just a big advocate about, letting kids voice their opinion in a respectful way. Now, what you're not going to do is come to me sideways.
Exactly.
But yeah, you can come to me and just be like, Mommy, that hurt my feelings when my son does all the time. Mommy, it hurt my feelings when you did this. Or he tell me, he just said it before we started filming. He was like, why you got that face on? Are you mad? Yeah. Like, he want to understand. He like picks up on them,
Oh, they do. And it's like, I didn't know that RBF was real until my kids called me out on it. And they like, Mommy, why are you so upset? Or why are you mad? Yeah. And I'm like, baby, I'm not. And them kids in that honesty, well, why do you look like that? Mm-hmm. That looks like your mad face. And I'm like, damn, I need to be more conscious about putting on my smile because they're paying attention.
And it's hard. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard to be a mother because you could be like, I'm not mad, but your facial expressions, your gestures, the way you moving about the house still affects them. You have no idea.
And then for us, it's like, because it's always so much going on, it's not until they call it to our attention and we just jump and say, we're not mad, but the truth is,
we're not
mad at them. Mad at you. But something in our head was going on, and we were stressed about it. And they picked up on it.
Absolutely. Okay, so what would you do if, you heard your kid, right? They in there playing with their other friends, their cousins, whatever. And they cuss one of their cousins out the same way they've heard you cuss somebody out.
Well, see, my mama, I do have an issue with bad words. I say them. I use them. It's a thing for me.
Right.
My mother did not cuss at me. My grandmother cussed. My auntie cussed. But my mother did not cuss at me. I do have the bad habit of cussing. And my mother says, well, don't say nothing when they start repeating what you say. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I'm like, no judgment, ladies.
You heard what she said. No judgment. Okay, don't get in these comments
at all. Don't come for me with the judgment. Now, I say that to say when my mom says that, I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't care if my kids cuss. Don't cuss at me. Mm-hmm. And don't cuss at anybody of authority. Like, have some respect for your teachers and other adults and absolutely me. So, like, if you, come on, y'all, we all did it. If you talking to your cousin and you like, man, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm okay with that.
So if you overheard, you might be proud.
Yes,
like,
I'm not
even.
And you used it correctly.
Exactly.
And he should shut the fuck up.
Yes, okay.
So, like stuff like that. Or like, I've heard my kids like full-fledged imitate me. Mm-hmm. My oldest will tell my middle child, boy, if you don't sit your ass down, and I just be like, yes, paying attention though, and he should sit his ass down.
Exactly.
And he'll be like, I'm about to tell mommy, and that's when I say, you ain't gonna tell me shit.
Right, y'all tag teamed his ass real quick. So you did bring up the sit your ass down. And that's legacy talk. We don't need to debate that one. That one's not going anywhere. Sit your ass down.
Okay.
And it also leads to another. The stereotype is that Black mothers don't believe in timeout.
And we do. We just don't call it that.
And the sit your ass down is the timeout.
It is. And when I was growing up, sit your ass down and shut up. Don't say nothing and don't move till I tell you to.
Don't move till I tell you to.
And that was a straight.
If that ain't a timeout.
I don't know what is.
Exactly.
Now, we may not put you face in a corner.
Exactly.
But we tell you to. You take time out and think about what you did.
Exactly. We might not have a dedicated chair.
Yeah.
Or all that. This your time out chair, this your corner. We might not have that. But wherever we at and there's a seat available.
And we will make one available. Sit on this floor.
Exactly.
And don't you move.
Sit your ass down and don't you move and don't get up till I tell you to. Period.
Yeah. Or even that go to your room.
The time out is the time out. So will y'all please stop saying black mothers don't believe in the time out, because
we just don't call
it
that. We just don't call it that.
We just don't call it a time out. Okay? No. Or we might. And that's fine too. Or we might have a dedicated chair. We might have your time out space, whatever. We might. It just depends. But I'm just saying, we have similarities.
We ain't all out here,
whooping for everything, they stole a cookie, we not whooping, come on now. All right, so back to what would you do? So I really like what you said about the cursing and things like that, because the way I grew up, you just couldn't cuss at your mama and things like that. You couldn't just be all free with it stuff. But if I'm explaining something to my parents or a situation, and I might say it, cause they cool, it could slide or whatever. I don't know so much when I was a little kid, but as I got older, middle school, high school, I could cuss to explain what I'm saying. I couldn't cuss at them and things like that. But I can explain myself how I feel I need to explain myself.
Absolutely. And even then, we were allowed to, if we were talking about a stressful, drama-filled situation at school, we could relay that in our emotion.
Because the cuss word is necessary for some times.
Absolutely. But what we couldn't do is just be, like I said, I don't mind the kids talking to their cousins and their friends, but you can't be at the dinner table while we all having family dinner and you tell your brother shut the fuck up. No,
we can't.
You gotta have some level of respect, respect that I'm here and you're in my presence. When you think I can't hear you and you saying it, cool. Yeah, you can do that.
Well, here's the thing though too. We have to be careful. Because we might allow it in our house, but then when they get outside our house and do it, then we want to get embarrassed.
And that's why I tell my kids that what is in this house is how, you have to let them know when certain situations. So, some stuff is a house rule, some stuff is a life rule. So, whoever house you at is how it goes.
I like that. So, what are some house rules, and then what are some life rules?
So, a house rule for me would be, if you're in your room and you're expressing yourself to your peers, okay, but you can't take that to everybody's house. Some people are going to find that disrespectful. And my middle son had to learn that the hard way because at school, he said, what the heck? And he said, what the heck, y'all? Not what the hell, what the heck, okay? And these kids, and ran and told the teacher on him. And
is heck a problem? I'm sorry. That's not a problem.
I didn't think so. But so the teacher sends
because
me
it's
her
implying
email.
Something, because it's implying the what the hell.
But sometimes, to me, and this off topic, right? I'm gonna get back to these rules, but I gotta say this with the whole discipline thing. Sometimes these teachers be super petty, in my opinion. You're the teacher. Correct whatever it was and leave me alone. If it's not something serious or something where I really need to step in and handle him, can you do what you need to do? Everything don't warrant a conference call, an email. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
Tell me about when he put his hands on somebody. Tell me about he's not doing his work. Don't tell me my baby said what the heck. Don't tell me my baby can't be quiet. You the teacher, make them be quiet. You discipline according to your rules and values for that classroom. You're the boss in that situation, not me.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah,
But back
I
to these
agree.
rules. Sorry, y'all. I had a moment.
She felt that.
I did. Because it's happened to me too many times. Not to say my kids can't act right at school.
Right.
They got issues, but ain't got issues, you know? But like, so for life rules, meaning it transcends wherever you go, don't open my refrigerator. You don't open a refrigerator. You didn't pay to put anything in there. You don't take anything out. And it's also, in my opinion, to protect them. Everything in there ain't for you. And if something happens and we do have to take you to the hospital, I need to be able to tell them what it is you consumed. If you in there and out of it, I don't know what you ate, what you drank.
Okay. So what you're saying is, in your household, anytime your kids want to eat, they have to ask you. Don't go in my fridge. Don't go in the pantry, none of that type of stuff. You come to me and you ask me, and that transcends, because what I don't want you to do is get over somebody else's house too.
Exactly.
In doing that, right?
Yes, and it's not to say they can't go get it after they ask, but you need to ask me, can you have it? And you need to be specific about what it is, so I know what you have consumed, and I want that to transcend, because some people may have other things in their home that are not kid appropriate, or they allow their kids to have, but I don't.
Yeah. Okay. So
there's that. There's also the rule of the life rule of respecting authority. An adult is an adult. It doesn't have to just be me. If you're at your TT's house, your uncle's house, grandma, or even just your friend's parents, respect them as the authoritative figure. And if some stuff happens that you didn't like, come tell me about it by all means, but don't act a fool over there.
Okay, so let me ask you this, okay? Because we all love that village. We all need that support, right?
Yes.
And, you know, on the rare occasions that we do trust people to watch our kids,
it
right?
Ain't many.
Right? On the rare occasion, because we all be complaining about needing that help, and then, you know,
we get it and
to watch our kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you do let somebody watch your kids, do you believe that when they're at somebody else's house, that person who's watching them is allowed to treat your kids like they treat their kids? Or do you believe that here's my set of rules for my kids, please implement that while you're watching my kids?
So see, for one, I'm going to say I try not to be a hypocrite. And everybody who knows me, they know that however I treat my kids is how your kids are going to be treated in my home. And that's in regards to the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if I'm hugging my kids, I'm going to hug your kid. If I'm going to pop my child, I'm going to pop your child. Like when you give me permission to watch your child, you're giving me permission to discipline your child. However,
do you let them know that up front?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
that
they
is
know
a known,
when they're coming to your house. I'm going to let you know up front, your kid will be treated the same as my child. So if I need to pop your kid because they out of line, that's what's going to happen in my house.
And ask anybody who has allowed me to watch their kids. These are conversations we had. We discipline each other's kids because that's the expectation. We also love on each other's kids and reward each other's kids as well. And so for me, if I allow you to watch my child, I expect you to discipline my child. If they acting a fool or not abiding by your house rules, by all means, handle that. But
they need to let you know that they put hands on your child when you come pick them up?
Only because kids have a way of twisting stuff.
Okay.
So I think it's the only reason I say they should is simply because I want an understanding between us before these kids start throwing that extra stuff. Because they throw it in there for us. Act like we killed them and all we did was thump them.
Really? You got to just lie your mouth like that.
Yeah. You know, so it's not necessary, but understand that if you don't, I'm going to come back to you with the story my child said, and now we discussing it, and you're going to be like, I did not do that to that boy.
Okay. For me, let me just be honest.
Okay.
I am a here's my child and here is my rules for
Well,
my
see,
child.
and that's what I didn't get to say. Now, that's a whole nother thing. If you drop your child off with me, I don't care who you are, and you already are of the understanding that this is how I parent my kids, any part of that you don't agree with, feel free to come with I'm going to respect your rules. If my kids can eat Chick-fil-A and you say, hell no, my kid's not allowed to have that, then no child in that house is eating Chick-fil-A that day. Mm-hmm. If you tell me your baby don't eat pork, we're not having bacon for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not,
Yes.
I'm with the following of the parents' request, but because I run a household for all kids to feel the same, whatever you come with for that day, that weekend, that's what it is for everybody.
So if somebody comes to you and says, and anybody kids you watch and you have a certain relationship with anyways, but if they're just like,
absolutely,
if they don't even have to say it because I don't whoop my son, because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So if I'm bringing my kid to you, I don't need to say, don't whoop my son, because I don't whoop my son. He gonna be like, what's going on over here this way? You know what I mean?
And again, that's a situation where I don't need him going back and saying, TT beat me. Like,
right?
No, it did not.
So for me, yes, I come with requests. I like that better. Requests instead of rules, because it's like if I'm asking you to watch my kid, I don't know if rules is the appropriate.
What, a request is fine.
I think some requests, but I just think that's, interesting, because it's like, I'm not about to rearrange my whole life to watch your kid for however many days or a couple hours or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but for me, if I'm watching your kid, like, I'm watching your kid, because the last thing I want is for you to come, anything to happen to your kid.
And
on
baby,
my
ain't that
watch.
the worst when something happened to somebody else's kid
on your watch.
Like, why this had to happen?
You be like, please.
Why I
like,
had you.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Because nothing is worse when you pick up your kid and they like, your kid got, 4 knots across their forehead and they kid's looking just fine, and you like, what? Yes. What happened?
And it happens. And sometimes
it happens.
You got to know your kid too, because it's like, if you got an accident-prone kid, it was bound to happen. It wasn't that they was being neglectful to your child. Your child.
You got to know your kid. You got to know your kid. And you can see what I'm talking about. Them 4 knots I've experienced. Okay, I used to call my son Naughty, because he would just always keep a damn knot on his head anytime he went somewhere. And you gotta know your kid. Like, okay, he clearly wasn't sitting down. And
you gotta know your kid's melanin and makeup. My middle child, he bruises easy and swells up quickly. Like, his brother will put hands on him, and I'm like, damn, he got you good. But it wasn't really a whole Mike Tyson situation, but it sure looked like it, though.
Yeah.
So, it's rough.
This discipline thing it's kind of like a moment to moment. You know what I mean?
It is, though. It is, because you just, like I said, the crime and the punishment have to fit. So the punishment has to fit the crime. And it's not always, like, if you do believe in whoopings, that one crime may not be whooping worthy. If you do believe in conversations, if I've already had this conversation with you, I'm not having it again. Now it's time for another measure of punishment. We're not going to keep talking about the same thing.
Let me go back, okay? Because I think this is something that needs to be addressed, okay? You have a daughter. I'm jealous. She's the most beautiful little thing. We'll have her so y'all can
Listen.
see her. But
she yours too.
Yeah, we share. So with the discipline now, because you've had 2 boys first and now you have a daughter, do you feel that discipline has to change with your daughter, or do you discipline your daughter the same way you discipline your boys? How do you view? She's just a baby, so right now she's not getting no discipline except for right. But
well, see, originally, I did not think that there had to be a difference. But as my sis keeps telling me that I cannot put hands on my daughter, and I cannot yell at my daughter, my sis here.
because I feel like this is my baby. And it's like, she's
So,
an angel. Okay, and we'll tell you
for
about her
now-
birth story later. But
For now, she's an angel of sorts.
she'll always be an angel.
But
okay.
hey, like my mama said, Satan was an angel too. Okay?
Look.
That's all I'm saying. But
Okay.
anyways, I don't know. Like, I feel like I have to wait and see for her first moment that she tries me how I feel. But I'm not sure. Like, naturally, I think people feel like it should be a difference. But I'm not sure that I don't know yet. I
Here's
don't
my
know.
thing, okay? I'm only basing it on my experience, okay? For me being a girl and my experience growing up, I don't have a daughter yet. Now, I'm not saying your daughter can't get a spanking, okay? I mean, I'm
Yes,
not
you are,
saying
but it's okay.
I am. But for all intents and purposes for this show, no.
Right.
But for girls, I'm not saying little girls can't get spankings. I'm not saying you don't have to get, rough with little girls sometimes, things like that. But maybe what I'm saying is who it comes from.
Okay. Well, I do know, like, in our family, both of my parents disciplined. However, my mom was the boss who took it to the co-boss or whatever. Like, my mama was the warden who took it to my mom was the guard and who took it to the warden. And so, I'ma tell your daddy. And so then my daddy would relay the punishment, whatever he saw fit. However, he did say that he did not believe in hitting a girl on her butt. We did not get spanked on our
like a
behind.
hand or something?
Yes.
I have a problem, and y'all can judge me,
No, you can't.
right?
But if she asks for your opinion, you can give it.
No, but in all seriousness, I personally, this is my opinion, I'm not comfortable with men whooping their daughters.
So even
And
if it's
here's
their
why.
biological father,
Exactly.
you're
And here's
okay.
why. I believe as a daughter, because I have such a good relationship with my dad and how I feel about myself, a lot of how I feel about myself has a lot to do with my mom, but it has a large amount to
Absolutely.
do with my father. And it's because he never laid a hand on me.
let's
It
just say
did
he
say-
was an awesome dad. He really was.
It
Is.
right. And not to say he wasn't disciplining me. He taught me a lot.
So you think that it may lead to the acceptance of domestic abuse?
I think that your first love, right? Your first experience with a man is through your father. And how they make you feel is what you will expect to feel with your partner as if you choose to be with a man. I feel like how your father made you feel can affect a whole lot of things about the type of man you choose in your life. My father made me feel good, made me feel confident, made me feel like I was a prize to be won, made me feel that I should never be disrespected, ever, and never made me feel small or anything like that. So I chose a man that gave me those same vibes.
I
And
respect
so I feel that if your father is out here whooping your butt all the time, yelling at you, making you feel small, you can't turn to him as the protector because he's the one, because you get mad with your mama quick, especially as a girl. You get mad. I can't wait. I can't stand her. And you run to your daddy, get under your daddy, and you feel protected. So I feel that as a girl, you need that. I'm not saying your father can't teach you things and, because,
Discipline.
and discipline you and things like that. But I think it has to be a different form of discipline. My daddy, he would let me know, like, now, you should have been listening to your mama. You can't be acting like that. That wasn't right. And it made me feel good, like, you right. You know what I mean? But that was a form of discipline, but it didn't have to come with a butt whooping or nothing like that. So me personally, if I'm ever blessed to have a daughter, I'm not comfortable with that. coming from my husband for him to be doing that. Like, let me handle that. Like, my mama handled that. And I think that is what's going to work for me. Now, what works for y'all, and, but that's how I view it. Well, what do you think?
I can respect that and I can appreciate it. Unfortunately, I did not have that same experience as you with the daddy-daughter experience. So I can't speak to that. However, I definitely can understand the thought process, and I can respect that. And I don't know, like I said, I honestly don't know how I feel about my husband spanking his daughter, but the type of husband I have, he's not going to. Like, he's clearly not going to.
Not happening.
Like, she's been like this. He's
probably going to have a problem with how you do your type of things.
I'm sure. So that's why I don't really have an opinion, because I already know, like, her daddy's not even going to touch her. Mm-hmm. Like, he's going to be the, come here, baby. Like, yo, mommy, be it, me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, no.
Exactly.
And it's funny you say that, though, like, the daddy is seen as a protector, because my grandmother would always say that. Like, her mama was so mean, and her daddy was like her best friend. She would run to him, like, that mean old lady over there. And I didn't have that, but the fact that my grandmother shared those stories, and you're saying that's a fact. Like, that's how you... Yeah.
And they say, like, little girls, they marry their daddies. Like, you marry a man that's similar to your daddy.
And
or you learn. Like, I don't want this.
And sometimes it's on purpose, and sometimes it's subconsciously, because, like, on the fathering side and the husband side, my husband is nothing like my dad. Mm-hmm. However, there are little quirks that I discovered about him that are just like my dad. And I'm like, now wait a damn minute.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
It's true. And they say, like, little boys marry their mamas, and you might not be exactly like their mom. Might be some differences and things, but it's probably going to be a lot of similarians too. So I think,
or like you said, you learn from it. So you married a complete opposite.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's what's, like, really important. Like, because you don't want your daughter to grow up and be like, I don't want a man that's like my daddy. I want something completely different. That's a problem.
Right. Like, what do they say, men? If you can close your eyes and smile about your daughter dating somebody like you, then you got it right. If not, you need to change your way immediately.
Expeditiously.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it's not okay.
It's not okay. And so that's just my personal thing about it. I feel very strongly about it. It's something I feel very strongly about, that the father-daughter relationship and the mother-daughter relationship. I feel all our relationships. I feel very strongly about it, but in particular on this subject about fathers and their daughters, I we got to get a father on the show and get their perspective. Yeah. But for me, I personally feel that
it's a no.
It's a no for me. It's a big no for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a big no for me.
Yeah.
Y'all let me know. Is it a big no for you? How do you feel about it? If you have a daughter, does your husband or your partner or your, baby's father do that? Let us know. But for me, it's a no. This was a good conversation.
It was.
I feel ready to I feel improved, right?
Yeah, new perspective.
Right? I feel improved. And, after I read these comments, I'm going to feel, adjust that crown. But yeah, after I read the comments, I feel like I'm going to learn something else, right? New perspectives. I didn't think about it like that. But that resonates with me. So.
And you know what? Before we wrap up, shout out to everybody who tuned in last week and watched it with us and who engaged with us. We appreciate y'all. We read all them comments. It was our first time, so forgive us for not being able to respond to everybody properly or in a timely fashion. But we noticed you, and we appreciate you.
Yes, we appreciate you. We
tell a friend.
This. Yeah, tell a friend. And we love being able to talk with y'all. Like,
Absolutely.
because you
That's what
be
we
talking
do.
to kids all day, every day, and you just be needing some adult conversation.
Yes.
Like, and somebody just be like, I feel you, sis. I'm going through the same. Don't
Okay.
that feel so good when
It
somebody
does.
else? Like, we put this up to our social media. Like, I'm sorry, when I see your kids behaving badly, I be happy.
It calms my mommy spirit.
I'm
Like,
like, it's
yes,
not just
it's
me.
Not, yes.
You
like-
were not alone.
Okay.
Like, it makes me feel good.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I be feeling bad for you too. Like, dang, it's your turn, sis,
Yeah.
right now. But it makes me feel comforted. Like, you're not the only one going through stuff. We're all going through this with our kids. Okay.
Yeah, we definitely need
and
an
I
episode
know
on
we
that.
shouldn't be calling them bad. But these kids is bad.
Right.
Okay. They're interesting. They're different. Whatever you want to say. Okay.
Yeah, however you want to word it, it is what it is. And that's a whole nother
Another
episode
episode.
for, it being the expectation that we can actually control these little bodies out in public. Like, before we had
They're
kids,
human beings.
but you know how judgy we used to be. Like, damn,
Can't
she
you
need to
get
get
your
control of
kid?
that child.
Ooh,
Why
we
he
gonna
so
talk,
loud?
We gonna talk about that.
Okay.
We gonna talk about
We will.
that. Okay, because we've all judged. I'm
Yeah.
just letting you know that this is a safe space. But we have all judged other parents and other mamas and whatever. We judge people
And
all day, every
expected
day.
more out of them than we now know is possible. Okay.
Right? Okay. So, I mean, that's a wrap on this one.
That's a
I
wrap,
can't wait to
y'all.
talk again next week. Like,
I know.
some more good stuff. Make sure you hit that subscribe. If you got some interesting topics you want us to talk about, like, put that in the comments. Make sure you follow us. I'll put all the stuff in the description box. And let's go be mommies.
Yes.
Let's go be mommies. Like, I feel,
Empowered. We got it.
yes, I'm about to do a different type of discipline today.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.